We had this workshop called biodemocracy, where we talked about the environment, forest, nature, and its connection to democracy. And the traditional beliefs in the country, and that beliefs correlation with the nature, the conservations, protections.
During my young age, I had a gun. I killed so many animals. I killed a monkey, a fox, a wild goat. That was blunder. My father was a religious man. He said, now you have to chant 10 million Bhajaguru, the prayer for Guru Padma Sambhava. Satisfied, no doubt. It's totally clean. In the world, people don't do that. There are a few countries they do like Bhutan, but the people like yourself, highly qualified people in the world, you don't believe, right? You don't believe.
We're here because Bhutan has a concentrated Buddhist culture. This is a source of cultural power that people can work with to get things done in the day-to-day world.
The world is a text to be interpreted. That's what Matthew does with his music. That's what Karen does with her science. I mean, the techniques of interpretation are different, but it's basically trying to understand and make meaning of a set of phenomena that are presented to us. I think that's what all of us, in a way, are struggling to do here.
This is an interdisciplinary team made up of artists and scientists and law professor. And we're especially interested in sites that have overlapping ecological, religious, cultural significance.
We have a kind of think tank. We have this topic and we have these places. And so everyone's coming with their own expertise. We're always trying to find the points of connection between the disciplines.
I'm an art historian of the Himalayas. My main area of focus is Bhutan. And these days I'm the Fulbright Scholar to Bhutan.
I'm the chair of the Department of Religious Studies at the University of Virginia. My research is in the history and literature of Buddhism in Tibet and the Himalayas.
My research focuses on climate change impacts on ecosystems and resilience of communities to climate change. So exciting of being here with people who think about the environment in different ways.
Working together really does transform the questions that we ask. That has shaped my perception of what is at stake in the work that I do. There are songs associated with certain valleys. There are poems that have made these places sanctuaries in the minds of the people now.
Maybe not this.
There are 81 families of birds, so hundreds and hundreds of bird species, and learning birds is a good way into a new landscape. And often, stories about birds and what's happening with them and where they're going are stories about places too. Yeah.
Pema Lingpa is one of Bhutan's foremost religious individuals. He's one of the 5 great treasure revealers in all of Tibetan Buddhism. This text says he fell into a trance, completely disrobed, and just plunged into the water. When he emerged, he had a treasure with him.
The guides were explaining that this is a special confluence because of the way these rivers join. So there's some energy about the way the water comes together that it's not in conflict. There's probably an environmental reason for that we can hear.
I'm interested in setting up listening exercises for the scientists and philosophers so that they can approach the world from a listening perspective.
Matthew literally counts down 3, 2, 1, and then we stop everything. We're absolutely silent, can't even unzip your jacket. And we experience not through a text, not through history, not through dates and numbers and the names of great people, but as we are.
By re-weighting our perceptions towards audition, we feel differently in the world. It's fascinating to imagine how that approach could affect philosophy, ethics, and science.
I'm thinking a lot about how religion happens in places where, through the lens of religion, people have really taken on environmental conservation and made that an important part of their religious practice, and how people are practicing in a world that's becoming increasingly more difficult due to climate change. My research is on Tibetan Buddhism, and specifically about a person who lived in the 14th century called Longchenpa. And today, we're in a Longchenpa place. This is where Longchenpa meditated. This is where he did Dzogchen meditation.
Longchenpa came from Tibet south to Bhutan, and the reason that we're here is because he wrote a very famous poem here called The Guide to the Bumtang Valley. We're at the entrance to the Bumtang Valley here.
Chutak. Ale, this chutak. Ale.
Nieve tati, teki tasuke. Tiri ranchi kini zabala. Chogi yulti mambo korwani. Kyumbo seri mambo jembala. Ramnang Tengsang Chumi Jaza.
There's something going on up there that was very powerful.
I couldn't have gotten that emotion or that sense of epiphany from the text itself. It took the place to put it all together.
I don't think that really came through to me, that it's like a love poem about a place until we were there.
His voice was mediated through his poetry.
There's plenty of space on the side of the truck that stopped because of its load. They are going to maneuver the cars through this space. We are welcome to join them in the cars or walk if we so prefer. I'm gonna walk. Walk on the other side.
It's up to you, John.
That's gonna
I'd do it. I'd do it in a minute. I'd run on top.
I've only ever been here in the summer, so I've never experienced the cold or the snow. Yeah. And I wasn't expecting to experience it on this trip either.
The crane numbers have been increasing.
Yes, especially in China.
And the hypothesis was, habitat pressure in China.
They feed on those leftover seeds, roots, like potatoes. Yeah.
So this is the perfect place because you have both farming and then you have the wetlands.
Yes. And this, especially this valley, has been just protected for them. Yeah.
Right.
15 years ago, the black neck cranes coming to Bhutan was not really pronounced. It was a flagship species for Bhutan long time back, and RSPN was also established to look after the conservation of the black-necked crane under His Majesty's command. Now we have realized that the black-necked crane coming from Tibet to Bhutan is actually increasing every year.
Being in a place transforms your knowledge of a place in a way that all the advanced work and all the advanced reading and all the advanced preparation can't account for. The prime thing at every meal, chili cheese.
I need some more cheese, sorry, I'm being gluttonous about the cheese.
That's all right.
Without quite being traditional pilgrims in our own way, we try and follow in paths that have been historically sacralized in a way that opens us to the experience of what about this place may have drawn people to make it sacred in the way that they have.
I've found a lot here that's personally satisfying. I think what I don't know yet, and probably won't know, is how stable this culture and this institutional system is in a rapidly changing world.
It's been really enlightening for me to think about the religious history and how that intersects with people's behavior. That's really helped me think more broadly about the connections between people and their environment and how people make decisions, which is really what it's all about.
It's hard to create shared research questions across music and law and science and 3 different ways of doing religious studies.
This is what the humanities does. It integrates a lot of different perspectives with some sense that we're getting some sort of a roadmap for how to go forward.
We are coming to questions that everybody can find their own research contribution toward. We're going to tighten our questions, and then we're going to carry those questions into our next 2 sites.